the Global Medical Director of Orbis. That's a heck of a title.
It is, and Orbis is an international non-profit, non-governmental organisation dedicated to saving sight worldwide, renowned for its flying eye hospital.
Yes, indeed. The Flying Eye Hospital is uniquely converted. It is a uniquely converted DC-10 airliner flown by volunteer pilots, even and supported by a medical team of specialist consultant doctors and, of course, nurses, whom we'd love to have met, but admirably, they're all in Vietnam doing what they do best.
Absolutely. Well, we're here to celebrate International Nurses Day and to tell us about Orbis's amazing work. Fresh from the headquarters in New York, we're honoured to welcome Dr. Jonathan Lord. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, and thank you very much for inviting me.
It's a pleasure to have you here. We're actually just talking the break, and I was actually Orbis was brought to my attention by my mum, actually, in the early 90s, when I think she started. I think she was really taken back by the fact that you were doing eye operations on a plane.
Yes.
She was really amazing. She's been supporting you guys ever since.
Well, you know, Orbis, we were founded in 1982. And we were founded by a group of ophthalmologists who realised that around the world there was a need for people to be treated. You know, now there are still 285 million people in the world who are avoidably blind, and 80% of that is treatable.
80%?
80%. And
Wow.
50% of those patients, 50% of those are blind because of cataract or have visual impairment because of cataract.
Okay.
A 15-minute operation will cure them forever.
Wow.
That is
And
remarkable.
so this group set up Orbis, and we converted our first plane, an elderly DC-8 aircraft.
And how big is a DC-8 aircraft?
A DC-8 aircraft just had 2 rows of seats and a central galleyway.
Oh, my goodness.
And so
Wow.
this aircraft, you had to walk on at the front door, and it was like walking through a series of rooms. So the patients came on at the front, and they walked through.
Well, we've got some footage, actually. Let's show
Let's
the
have a
videos.
look.
This looks good.
Oh, no, this is our DC-10.
Oh, this is the new one, is it?
This is our DC-10.
Wow.
I was prepared to write on the other way.
So this is an operation in progress on the plane itself. How many operations can you be doing simultaneously on the plane?
We can only, well, we have, the way the plane is set up, we have one operating theatre, so we do one surgery at a time, but we also have an outpatient area where we can do laser treatments, we can do injection therapy that patients need. So we treat patients as they're needed. But the reason for having the plane is training.
Yeah.
It's not to do high numbers. The idea is that we train medical personnel and the allied professionals that they need, nurses, anaesthetists, biomedical engineers, so that they can set up, or we can set up with them, sustainable healthcare services. And so it's not about volume, it's about providing high-quality traiing.
Well, how difficult is that? Because, I mean, it's extraordinary when you think about it. You're talking about doing full-blown operations in an aeroplane.
Yeah.
Okay. What are the obvious challenges that you have to overcome? What are the first things that you have to deal with that one might not think about? It boggles the mind, just the whole idea.
I mean, the conversion of this plane was incredible. It still is incredible. 23 years after it was converted, it still amazes me. Every time I walk on this plane, it gives me a sort of shiver down my spine, because what we've managed to achieve. We have a full operating theatre, equipped as any other operating theatre in the world, an outpatient department, a recovery area. Last year, we were accredited by an American hospital accreditation to be the same standard as a hospital-based land-based US hospital.
goodness.
Wow.
So we are a fully accredited hospital with the same safety and quality standards that they'd expect in the US.
That's extraordinary. And do you, I mean, where do you, it sounds really silly, but where do you put the plane when you're doing the operations? Like, are you doing, is this like...
park it on a runway,
That's
I
what I'm thinking.
suppose.
Are there planes on runways like Heathrow Terminal 3 and there's people having operations in there?
Well, you know, actually, you're not far from the truth. When we go into a country, the plane, for example, is in Vietnam at the moment, and it's at Hue International Airport, and it's at their main terminal building in Hue. And so what we do is we get permission to bring the plane in. The local authorities are usually very, very helpful to us. And so we then have a screening day at a local hospital. We select the patients, and then we take them to the aircraft and we operate on them.
Amazing.
We also mirror that, by the way, doing the same types of surgery in the local hospital to show people how to make best use of their own resources.
So what prep is done beforehand? How do you select patients? Where do you go to actually find the patients?
Right.
Is it?
Well,
Would you explain the process?
It takes over a year to plan a flying eye hospital program. But I think the thing that you need to know is that we have 15 offices around the world. We've worked in over 92 countries. We have 40 ongoing long-term programs around the world.
How many planes do you have?
Just one.
Just the one.
Wow.
And the plane is actually a small component of what we do as an organisation. The plane is a tool that we use as part of our program
Training.
activity, as part of a training tool. So actually the need is being identified by our country and regional offices. We're working constantly to improve services locally, and we take the plane in order to actually provide specific training where it's needed. I should also tell you, the plane's great for advocacy. You know, ministers of health, prime ministers, people want to come and see us on the plane.
Of course, I was just thinking.
Everyone wants to come to the plane.
I mean, it makes a heck of a photo op, doesn't it? But I guess
It does.
it makes you so much more attractive to people who want to. I mean, in terms of when you want to market this and when you want to get this in front of as many people as possible, there's few things you can do more dynamic than do surgeries, full-blown surgeries on a plane.
A question I've got for you, though, Doctor, is does it make you think why countries that you're operating in are not already providing what would ordinarily be a very basic service to its people, considering these aren't necessarily all poor countries?
No, you know, the burden of avoidable blindness is carried by developing world countries, so low and middle socioeconomic countries. And, you know, part of the problem around the world is actually getting eye health on national agendas, because governments and ministries of health around the world actually have other priorities which they see as being major. And so we work very hard with our country and regional offices to get eye health on the agenda, to promote this increase, to make sure that we're building sustainable services that people need.
Looks like they need a bit of a kick, frankly. I mean, that's
Well,
what you're
yes.
doing. You're kind of in your face saying, you can be doing this yourself and this is how you do it.
That's right.
In a nice way.
You are. And what
Good.
you're trying to do is to demonstrate the best way of doing
Good.
it.
And so you should.
Fantastic
Now,
work.
I've got to ask you. I mean, I'm sure people are watching this, just amazed, just as I am, just listening to you. If they want to get involved, if there's doctors watching, or pilots watching, or nurses, it's what Nurses Day.
Yeah.
If there's nurses watching, how do they get involved?
Oh, it's going to be really easy, this. All you need to do is to go to our website, and it's Orbis, which is orbis.org. And on there is all the information about what the organisation does, what we do as a charity, but also about volunteering. So that's everything you need to know is on there.
Extraordinary.
My mum is a nurse. She worked for over 30 years in the NHS. I know she's watching now. She's absolutely fantastic. She was loved by all the staff where she worked at. I know she's watching now. She's going to want to sign up. No, someone has to have my dinner ready at home.
No,
Mum.
this is great
So,
work.
Sorry.
Mrs. Varda, I love it. I do it. Go for it. It's very important.
No,
Anyway,
I miss you too much.
Anyway, thank you so much for joining us. I mean, do stay with us as well.
Yeah, we've got a lot more to talk
We
about.
do.
So.